Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well. I know this is not the best time in the world. I hope you guys are having a good time spending time with your family and just doing things at home, maybe getting to go outside and just play or whatever. The video that we're doing today is going to be just surface area. I will be doing another video for volume, probably tomorrow. But today will be just surface area, so that's all you have to worry about for today, and tomorrow is just the surface area. Volume should start on Monday. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I am on Schoology. You can email me whatever you need. I am always available. I do appreciate for the ones that have been sending me their completed packets. I really do appreciate that. But let's go ahead and begin. So you should have this packet. It is week 3, days 11 through 15. That should start today on Thursday, April the 2nd. So today we're going to be doing surface area only. We'll come back and do volume later. So you have these different shapes. You have cylinder. Right here you have radius and your height. Then you have your square base pyramid. You have your base, S, and the height is up and down. And you can see right here where it's perpendicular to that base. The height has to be perpendicular to the base. You guys should remember doing that with triangles. Rectangular prism, you have your height, your length, and your width. Height, length, and width. And then your triangular prism should be height, and then you have, of course, A, B, and C, and then your length. So all of your different formulas for surface area, for cylinder, you've got surface area is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, and don't forget for pi we're using 3.14. For your square base pyramid, you have b squared plus 2 times b times s. Your rectangular prism, you have 2 times the whole thing, which is the width times the height, plus the length times the width, plus the length times the height. So that one's kind of a bigger one. And then the triangular prism, you have b times the length, plus a times the height, plus b times the height, plus c times the height. So those are all of your formulas for surface area. So we're going to move on to the second page with all of your examples. So we're on this page and we're starting with this one right here. I went ahead and drew it over here. So we have all of our numbers. So if we went to the front page, we would see that our formula, or we can look right here, our formula is surface area is equal to base squared plus 2 base times s, or 2 times b times s. So b squared plus 2 times b times s. So over here, I went ahead and color coordinated a little bit. Our b is 4 centimeters. Our s is 6 centimeters. So SA is equal to our base, which is 4 squared, and that's centimeters, plus 2 times 4 centimeters. Running out of room a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to write it right down here. Times 6 centimeters. So we know that centimeters times centimeters has to be centimeters squared. So this should equal 16 centimeters squared. And this right here should be 2 times 4, which is 8 times 6, which is 48. So then we should have 16 centimeters squared and 48 centimeters squared. We have to add those together. So our full answer should be 64 centimeters squared. So you just take your numbers that you have from the figure, plug it into your formula, and then add like terms. So you'll add your numbers together. And don't forget, centimeter times centimeter is centimeters squared. Since that is 4 centimeters and that whole thing is squared, it would be 16 centimeters squared. And then 2 times 4 centimeters times 6 centimeters would give me 48 centimeters squared. We add those two numbers together, you end up with 64 centimeters squared as your answer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on to number 2, and once again, I went ahead and drew that on my paper. Don't mind my terrible drawings, I know they're not the best. I went ahead and also wrote down the formula. It is 2 times the width times the height plus the length times the width plus the length times the height, and that whole thing is in parentheses. So right here is 6 meters, and it is our length. So let's go ahead and write down that this is our equal to L. 16 is equal to our width. And 3 is equal to our height. So we're going to go ahead and take those numbers and plug them in down at the bottom. So we have is equal to 2 times our width is 16. Our height is 3. Plus our length, which is 6, times our width, which is 16, plus our length, which is 6, times our height, which is 3. We're going to go ahead and end that parentheses right there. So then we can put all of this in our calculator, and you end up with 96, and this is meters squared, plus 192 meters squared, plus 36 meters squared. Once you add all of those numbers together, you end up with 324 meters squared. So, like we said, 6 meters is our length. Our width of this is 16, and our height is 3. And then our final answer should be 324 meters squared. Okay, so we're going to go on to number 3, and once again, I went ahead and drew our shape over here. And if we look, I know the formulas seem a little different from the front page to this page, but it's just a little different because on the front page we used A, B, and C instead of all of the B's. And then also right here, for this one, you're actually finding the surface area for 2 different triangles. So you can see that there's one triangle here, and then there's another one over here. So 1/2 base times height is the area of one triangle. Timesing that by 2 would give you that for both of them, but 2 times 1/2 is just 1. So that's where the difference is from this page, this formula, to the formula on the front. It's actually the same, it's just written out just a little different. It might be easier for you to understand this formula rather than the one on the front. So I went ahead and drew out our shape over here, and I'm actually going to break it up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and draw out this triangle. There we go. And that's 8, and this is 15. So we're going to actually have 1, 2 triangles. So let's go ahead and do the formula for this. That should be 1/2 base times height, but since we have 2, it's going to be 2 times 1/2 times the base, which is 15, and the height is 8. So that should just be 15 times 8, which would give me 120. So that is one part of our figure. Now we can see that there should be 1, 2, 3 other either squares or rectangles in this. So let's go ahead and draw this one right here. Do you see that one right there? I'm going to draw it down here. So it is 8, and it should also be 20 on the bottom. Because if you look at this bottom one, this side is 20, making this side also 20 because it is a rectangle. So that means that this side right here has to be 20. So you have to use area is equal to base times height, or 20 times 8, which should give us 160. So we have 2 parts of it now. We just need to draw 2 more parts. So we have done the 2 triangles, and we've done the back part of this. So let's go ahead and do the bottom part. I'm going to do that one right here. So there's that one. So we've got this side should be 15, and this side is 20. So this should be base times height, 15 times 20, which is 300. So we have, take a different color, 300. There's one of our numbers. Another number is 120. And another number is 160. So there's 3. We need 1 more. I'm going to go ahead and do that one right here. And that's the top of it right here. So if you see that this should be 20 and this is 17, so if you can't see this one, I'm going to use a different color. I'm not going to draw this one out. I've kind of run out of a little bit of room. So here is this one. So it's 17 and 20. So that should be 17 times 20, which should give us 340. So now we have this one. So we have 120, 160 for this shape, 300 for this shape, and 340 for this top one. So we just need to take all of these numbers, 120 plus 160 plus 300 plus 340. That should be equal to 920. That is feet squared. So I hope that helped kind of breaking it up a little bit. I was having a hard time keeping my paper still, so I had to use something to hold it down. And then this one took a while. So you have technically 2 triangles. Well, we used the 2. One of these, 8 and 20. So that one was this right here. And then you have 15 and 20, which is the bottom of this shape. And then 17 and 20, which is the top of our shape. Once again, our final answer is 920. And finally, our last shape for surface area. Once again, I drew it over here. This is probably the worst drawing of these shapes so far. I know it is terrible. I had a hard time actually drawing this one. It took me a couple tries. So this one should be a little bit easier for us. The formula is kind of long, but it's pretty easy because you only have 2 different numbers. So our formula is surface area is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. So don't forget, let's go ahead and write this down. Pi is equal to 3.14. That's what we're using. Our radius is 11. And our height is going to be 6. So those are our 3 numbers that we have. 3.14, 11, and 6. So let's go ahead and plug those numbers in. So surface area is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r squared, which is 11 squared, plus 2 times 3.14 times 11, which is our r, and then h, which should be 6. So this one is a little longer, but only 2 numbers that we have to use. So for this, it should be surface area is equal to, if you put 2 times 3.14 times 11 squared into your calculator, you should end up with 759.88 plus 414.48. Add those together on your calculator. You end up with 1174.36 yards squared. Since this is measured in yards, yards times yards gives me yards squared. We talked about that in class whenever we did area. So you guys should remember doing that. So like I said, this is our radius. It does not go through the whole circle. It only goes through half the circle, and that's what our radius was. So just for a little review, let me draw a circle right here. So if I had a line going all the way through my circle and I said it was 30, what would my radius be? If that whole thing is 30, it's technically my diameter. So my radius is 1/2 my diameter, or 1/2 of 30, which gives me 15. So just remember that whenever you're doing the rest of these cylinders for the rest of this time. Once again, answer is 1,174.36 yards squared. I hope this helps a little bit going through this. Have a wonderful day.